Southern California is one of the most saturated markets for theme parks. You have all the big names, including Disney, Universal, Merlin, Cedar Fair, Six Flags, SeaWorld, and so many smaller owned parks. It's obvious that the collection of coasters here is also pretty good. Today's video, we are going to be ranking the coasters of Southern California, but only the top 20 because there's like 80 of them. Before we start the video, I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe. It means a lot more than you think and will help a small channel like us grow. Coming up in the last spot and in the number 20 place is Viper at Six Flags Magic Mountain. We all know this coaster. It's the last standing Aero Mega Looper, and it is a very polarizing coaster. You have people like me who hate this coaster solely because of the roughness. I'm pathetic, I know. And you have the Giga Chad enthusiasts that look past the pain and see the good ride that this coaster provides. If you're like them and can ignore the terrible rattle, you can appreciate Viper for the good ride that it has to offer. There are a collection of good positive G's throughout the entirety of the layout. However, due to the fact that this coaster can be a hit or miss, it earns the 20th spot. In the number 19 spot is what could be my most ridden coaster of all time. Emperor, the new for 2022 small-scale B&M dive coaster. Yes, I really had to do it. It's like an inside joke at this point. Wins the number 19 spot. We all know that B&M dive coasters are generally one-trick ponies, the only good thing about them being the first drop, and Emperor falls exactly into this category. It doesn't do much except for the holding brake and some faint airtime. This not having a mid-course brake run gives it a very good pacing, especially for a dive coaster. However, this ride feels rather incomplete to me with its 3 inversion layout. I feel right when the holding brake releases, the ride is over in an instant, and it's the biggest draw of this coaster for me and the reason it falls in the number 19 spot. Now for a series of really solid family coasters. In the 18th spot is Revenge of the Mummy at Universal Studios Hollywood. It's been a long time since I have come to this park, mainly because I hate its attraction lineup, but I'll be back when Nintendo Land opens. In my few rides of Revenge of the Mummy, I found it to be a really enjoyable coaster. It's not intense, the launch caught me off guard though, it's just a really fun ride. The theming is amazing and what you would expect from Universal, and the backward section is somewhat cool. For these reasons, Revenge of the Mummy at Universal Studios Hollywood earns the number 18th spot. The number 17 spot goes to one of my personal favorite coasters, that being Manta at SeaWorld San Diego. I absolutely love this coaster. I know ranking it above Emperor can be controversial, but it is totally better than that. The Smock multi-launch packs in a decent amount of airtime for it being a family coaster, and it has 2 very good launches, which makes it such a fun ride. Not only this, but the scenery and environment that you fly around in is very good for a SeaWorld park. For these reasons, Manta earns the number 17 spot for the best coaster in Southern California. In the number 16 spot is Space Mountain at Disneyland. This is a certified classic, and you know that. This coaster is amazing for what it does. There's no thrill factor nor any intensity, but it serves as a good fun ride. The feeling of flying through space is unrivaled anywhere else, and the onboard soundtrack is absolutely amazing. I don't think there's any more that I can ask from this coaster, but the lack of intensity and thrill gives it the number 16 spot. I'm going to try to rapid fire some coasters off to preserve the length of the video. I've only gone through 5 coasters and it already feels like it's dragging on, so let's go. Silver Bullet earns the number 15 spot. It lacks the intensity and whips in other B&M inverts, like look at that first drop. It's literally a ramp. There's a couple good elements, but besides that, I wouldn't really say it's outstanding. The 14th best coaster in Southern California is Scream. This is a quite enjoyable coaster despite what Airtime Thrills says. It's actually pretty smooth, though only on one train, and it pulls some very good forces. The one draw is it does sit on a parking lot, and I will forever hate Six Flags for that. Incredicoaster earns the 13th spot. This coaster is in a very similar situation as Space Mountain. It does not have much of a thrill, though the launch is surprisingly good, and there's some positives pull on the vertical loop. The onboard soundtrack and the half attempt at theming is what makes this coaster so good. The over-the-shoulder restraints are unnecessary. Disney, please get rid of them. The number 12 spot goes to Hang Time. This Kurzlauer Infinity coaster is one of the coolest night rides out there. The lights hit hard. Anyways, the vertical lift hill builds a suspension for the first drop, which provides some really nice ejector. There's also some hang time as the name implies, and another good airtime moment with the speed hill. The number 11 spot goes to Riddlers Revenge. This is another very polarizing coaster, and one that I absolutely despise, yet it earns the number 11 spot. Why? Ask Flashring, he may have put me here. I don't have much good things to say about this coaster, and like the real world, if you have nothing good to say, don't say it at all. However, it has earned the title of being the best standing coaster by other enthusiasts, so I have to say it's doing something right. Now for the top 10. Batman, the ride, can't forget the ride part, earns the number 10 spot. Contrary to Silver Bullet, this Batman clone, B&M invert, pulls some really good positive Gs and has that insane whip seen on these clones. Chances are we have ridden this coaster to one place or another, so we can all appreciate the good that it has. I don't feel a need to describe this coaster anymore, but for its sheer intensity, Batman the Ride earns the number 10 spot in Southern California. The number 9 spot goes to Apocalypse, the Ride. This is a mid-tier GTI Woody. It offers some decent forces with good airtime and laterals. The rattle is there and it's on the stronger side, but a lot of people can look past it. Not me, I'm pretty pathetic. The station flyby is somewhat cool, and the coaster has some of the best theming for a Six Flags park. I again don't have much to say, but this GTI Woody earns the number 9 spot. In the number 8 spot is the dueling premier launch coaster West Coast Racers. I love this coaster solely because it duels every time. It adds so much to the uniqueness. The way the two tracks interacts is so much racks. Oh my god, why did I try to make that rhyme? The high five is one of the highlights along with some good airtime moments. The theming is okay and the coaster is overall just fun. It offers an enjoyable experience that's guaranteed to put a smile on my face. And for those reasons, it is the 8th best roller coaster in Southern California. Up in the 7th spot is Full Throttle. I just finished reviewing this coaster on my channel, so if you want, you can go check out that video there. In short, this coaster is one of my personal favorites. They're some of the best hang time in the world, along with punchy launches and some ejector coming down the top hat. The trims at the end are a huge killer and is stopping this coaster from becoming truly elite. If there's one or two more elements, I think this coaster would have rivaled others like Pantheon or Velocicoaster. And for those reasons, Full Throttle earns the number 7 spot. In the number 6 spot is Accelerator. This first kind of this model is no joke. The launch is the best in Southern California by a long shot. Nothing comes close to this in terms of power or intensity. The top hat is fun and the turns that come after are a nice addition, not a lot more to the ride than just launching up and coming back down like you would see in King to Car or Top Thrill Dragster. It's definitely not the best of its kind, mainly because of the incomplete layout, but it still remains in the number 6 spot in Southern California. The top 5 starts off with Tatsu. This flying coaster is amazing. The fact that it's located on top of a hill makes it so much better. It truly gives you a feeling like you are flying, and that combined with these graceful inversions and turns makes it a very eye-opening experience for me. There also is the notorious pretzel loop that is one of the most intense moments on any coaster as you are slammed with strong sustained positives. Though by now you probably know I'm not a fan of the pretzel loop, I love Tatsu for its graceful feeling of flying. Anyways, Tatsu earns the number 5 spot in Southern California. In the number 4 spot is Wonder Woman Flight of Courage. I honestly don't feel qualified enough to put this here since I haven't ridden it yet, but Flashwing has and he has made his thoughts perfectly clear. This coaster is elite. The airtime provided is what you would expect from RMC, and the first drop is better than Twisted Colossus. That's all what you need to have me hooked. This coaster seems to have fixed all the problems Jersey Devil has had, and I am so looking forward to riding this. It might even be tomorrow as the day of posting. The top 3 is where you get to the top, best of the best, most elite coasters. Any of these 3 are qualified enough to be number 1. In fact, I don't agree with the top 3 ranking, but Flashwing told me so, and I just let him tell me that X2, okay, I'll stop spoiling it. The top 3 starts off with Ghost Rider. Despite having the worst operations on the West Coast, it offers an amazing ride. The airtime moments are endless and it feels like you are out of your seat for half of the ride. The turnarounds provide great laterals, and flying back through the structure is quite an experience. The night ride of this is insane as everyone in support is a head chopper and you quite literally do not know where you are going. I can praise this coaster so much, but I would rather get it over with. Twisted Colossus takes the number 2 spot. This is your typical RMC. It has your airtime based layout with inversions mixed in, but the one quirk that it has is its dueling, and it's a Mobius loop, so you can go back through it. Basically 2 RMCs for the price of 1. Of course you have elite airtime and some really cool moments such as the high 5 and the 0G stall. Some argue that without the dueling aspect, it turns into a mid-tier RMC, and I could kind of see it, but I personally think it's a really fun coaster. And on the off chance that it does duel, and on the rare occasion that it duels in both laps, you can have yourself one of the most enjoyable and fun rides in the world. In the number 1 spot is Goliath. Oh god, no, not that stupid. X2 is unique Aero 4D free spin. Oh, Six Flags, what have you done to me? X2 is unique Aero 4-dimensional coaster that truly offers an experience that you cannot find elsewhere, except in Asia. Imagine being hurled over the crest of the drop and thrown straight at the ground face first until you pull away at the last second. That is something only X2 can provide. Not only this, but you have a very complete layout following this. My one complaint is that this coaster can get a little rough, especially if you're in the back row and on the outside seat on the last Raven turn. Six Flags, I'm still salty about that. That hurt my head a lot. Despite this, you have one of those intense experiences you can ask for. The best way I can describe it is it's like a fever dream or pure insanity. There's not much words that can encapsulate what this coaster does. It basically legally gets away with assault on a day-to-day basis. You also have the long history of it being X, Aero going bankrupt, blah blah blah, I'll save that for another video. Because of its uniqueness, intensity, and long history, X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain is the best coaster in Southern California. Though I didn't agree with this. Shh. That's it for today's video, guys. As always, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.